Hello, listeners and watchers. Welcome to another edition of 5 Good Questions. Today I'm here with W Know, a Twitch streamer who I have interacted with over the past couple months or so, and I asked him if I could interview him for this segment, and he agreed. But the format of this segment will be pretty much the same, but the main topic of discussion is exercise and video gaming. Alright, so go ahead and introduce yourself, Dev.
All right. Well, I'm Devil You Know. A little bit about me. I'm, uh, got a bachelor's of science in exercise science, a master's of science in exercise science, and I'm currently wrapping up a PhD in exercise science. All that's left is my dissertation research. So you could say I've got a little experience in the exercise and fitness realm. Some. But
So,
as for me myself, I played some sports early on in life, but I've never been what you would call like a sports fanatic or anything. And it's just physical activity and exercise for me has just always been kind of just something fun to do. I'll hop from activity to activity, and just one day it took an interest in it in a scholarly sense and started pursuing education.
okay. This, the, uh, so you got your background in exercise. Now, does any of it tie into gaming at all? I mean, do you have anything? We're not hopping into the questions yet, but did gaming have any effect on your viewpoint of exercise?
Um, Gaming itself, no, it's never actually impacted my viewpoint on exercise in general. Um, until recently, where I've started looking at it more as okay, especially when I'm streaming as much as I am and playing games as much as I am and just sitting around a lot, and just thinking about it in that regard. That's the only time my perspectives change about it. It's like, okay, I'm sitting, being sedentary a lot, so I had to make a conscious effort to put something in my schedule that's going to get me moving around and things like that. But in terms of actually influencing me into exercise or the types of exercise I do, video games haven't really had much of an impact on that. It's always two separate part of my lives, really.
Understood. I I I personally kind of like the kind of things like if I'm running, I want to be playing a game like or not if I'm running, if I'm biking or what have you. I like to try to put the two activities together so that I can like be multitasking to put it lightly.
Yeah, I don't think I have the capacity for that. Yeah, I've tried to even just get in a chat room or something like while running on a treadmill, and I can't do it. I just can't do it. Let alone playing a game while exercising. I
Yeah,
just I'm all in, just 100% focus on one task at a time, basically.
I see. All right, so let's go ahead and start diving into the questions.
All right.
Question number one: what's your gaming background and exercise background? We kind of covered it, but do you have? Well, one of my examples is you were playing Final Fantasy VIII,
Yeah.
and one of the comments you made is it's a game that you had played earlier in your life with your brother, I think. Uh,
Well, my best friend, but yeah, I mean,
no,
I
best friend.
practically my brother. I call him my brother sometimes, so yeah, easy confusion there. But my background in gaming, let's start with that. I've basically kind of been gaming my entire life. Some of my earliest memories are just sitting in my living room floor playing the Nintendo Entertainment System. Um, as for what my first game ever was, probably Mario on the Nintendo Entertainment System.
Hmm.
But beyond that, my family was never one to have a whole lot of money, so the Nintendo Entertainment System was all I had up until the Nintendo 64 came out. Now, some of my cousins, they did have like Super Nintendo and Sega Genesis and things like that. So I was exposed to some other games along the way, like Zelda: A Link to the Past when I went over to my cousin's house, and that's probably, I would say, what started pushing me more into the RPG realm. Um, so I don't know, around 10 or 11, I started helping my dad with some work, and making money for the first time. So I went out and immediately bought a PlayStation 1. And that's when things really kind of kicked off. Because the PS1 demo discs that came with like PlayStation Magazine, back in the day, doesn't even exist anymore. The unofficial PlayStation Magazine really introduced me to a variety of games. They would come with like Metal Gear Solid on them and Final Fantasy VIII demo and things like that. So one of those demo discs is where I first experienced Final Fantasy VII. Actually, and that was the first Final Fantasy I experienced, um, at least in demo form. It wasn't the first full one I played, but so meeting my best friend in junior high, the one we were just talking about that you were thinking was my brother.
Hmm.
Um, that's when I actually really started getting into the Final Fantasy series. He got me into Final Fantasy VIII, so that's the first one I fully played through, um, more than just a demo level. Um, and then from there, I mean, I just got obsessed, and we'd be just searching, scouring the internet and magazines for information, especially as Final Fantasy IX was nearing release. Um, but I've always really been a variety gamer. I wouldn't say I really stick to any one genre. I mean, as you can tell on my stream, man, I would just kind of whatever I'm feeling at any given moment's what I'll play. But that's basically a brief background in my gaming. As for my exercise background, um, it's surprising, really, considering that I'm now completing a PhD in exercise science, that my background isn't really something one would think would push me in that direction. I played baseball from a very small age all the way through junior high, but after that, I never and really still haven't participated in any kind of organized team sport. Um, After I quit baseball, I got into a lot of more individual type things, like skateboarding in high school. Granted, I was never good at it, but I dabbled in skateboarding. I enjoyed that, and then once I got to college, um, once I finally worked up the courage to go out in public and go to the gym, I started really getting into rock climbing, and I was big into rock climbing for a long time, and still would be if it were convenient to my location. But since I moved to grad school, kind of fell out of that. But gotten into cycling a lot recently, so it's a lot of these individual sports that I've gotten into. Um, so it's weird, there's this typical thought that most of these people that go into like the exercise field, they've just grown up doing organized sports their entire life, and with me that's not true. Um, so what really pushed me into my field was kind of the rock climbing thing. I was working at the climbing area at the rec center at my undergraduate university, and I really enjoyed working in the rec center. Um, and after realizing that my degree in art probably wouldn't take me very far, I decided that, well, I enjoy this rec center environment. I enjoy the people here. I enjoy the work. You know, Maybe I'll pursue a degree in exercise science. So from there, I decided I was going to be a personal trainer. And after graduating with my bachelor's of science, I quickly realized I didn't really like that either. Um, I don't have the type A personality, so the personal training just wasn't going to work out. I mean, I could do it, but I couldn't see myself doing that my entire life. So while I still hold a personal training degree, I am not a personal trainer and haven't been in years, quite a few years. I just don't have the personality or energy for it. So that didn't work out. So I was like, well, I'll give grad school a try. Go try for my master's and see how that works out. And that's where it all finally really clicked for me. So I mean, we're talking very long journey to get to the point where I'm like, man, this is it. This is what I enjoy. This is what I'm going to do. So it wasn't until I started my master's degree that it really clicked, and I realized that a career in research in exercise science was what I wanted to do. So, I mean, clearly I've always been fairly active, but of course, after all the education I've had in the field, I'm much more aware of issues of not being active, and at this point, it's just become part of my life.
Wow, that's definitely a lot to digest.
I'm wordy.
All right. Well, so okay, so but as experience as a personal trainer, but also okay for the rest of the podcast, this disclaimer is in play. Any exercise advice given on this podcast, we recommend you go to your doctor first and ask them about this, or go to an actual exercise professional. So we don't.
Absolutely. I mean, even as someone, like, if I bring anybody into our lab, or even as a personal trainer, we would do some kind of health history questionnaire and risk stratify beforehand. So absolutely, you will not actually hear me give any kind of direct exercise advice on here. I won't do it. Um, I will give kind of general guidelines and maybe recommendations, but I won't give any like specific exercise advice for that reason. For that reason.
Yeah, yeah, because it's. I had a little incident on a fishing podcast where a guy he was obviously trolling me, but he said because his body type is bigger than I am, he fishes differently than I am, so he actually got the hook stuck in his eye. I'm like, well, you did that to yourself.
Huh,
I,
that's
I
that's interesting.
yeah. So anyway, all right. So all right. So that's pretty good exercise. Okay. So and then that means you're going into like the exercise research kind of like sciencey stuff, right?
Correct. Yes, I'll be when I graduate, hopefully next May. I'll actually be taking a commission, active duty with the Army as a researcher for the military.
Uh, I don't really know what that means.
Well, I mean, I'll still be doing the same things I'm doing. The position title is physiologist. So it's the Army has I don't know, the branch is really the word, a component that is, it's called USARIUM, or the institution within the Army. It's called USARIUM. It's the U.S. Army Institute for Environmental Medicine. So basically, they are an exercise science research team, more or less, located within the Army itself. So they look into basically anything that is going to increase performance of soldiers, physically. So they look into high altitude training, um, just absolutely anything, diet, nutrition. So that's I'll just be in a lab somewhere doing what I do now, but doing it for the Army.
So probably like drugs, also like steroids.
Um, I don't know about that. It's all going to be mostly physiologically related, with just in terms of how body's going to respond in certain situations, like extreme heat and altitude. And, like
Okay,
my research right now is focused on how the torso loading rucksacks that the soldiers have to carry that can weigh a lot are going to affect their their walking gait, how they walk.
yeah. Speaking from personal experience, I wear a backpack pretty much every day, and I have to, depending on if I'm wearing it or not, it affects it affects the balance and it affects the like the steps you take.
Oh, absolutely, it does. It does. Um, Without getting too much into that, yeah, I mean, and a lot of things can affect it too, like where the load is positioned on your back, where the load is positioned within the backpack, how heavy the load is. It can all affect how long your stride is, your steps, and how far forward you lean. I mean, there's so much. It's surprising how much goes into something as simple as wearing a backpack.
Yeah, it also has an effect on your stamina too, your endurance, because depending on what's in the backpack, you go slower, or it takes a little longer for you to reach your destination.
Absolutely, absolutely. It's going to affect your speed of movement as well. Yeah.
All right, so a couple of yeah, the talking points talked about FFA classic games. I took gym in school. I don't even know why I put that on there.
It's something. I mean, I would put it on there.
It, it's
It's something.
it's
Any
something.
experience counts, man.
I, I don't know. Okay. And then the other talking point I got into was martial arts is
Okay.
something that I'm into personally. I one of my role models, and actually, I got good news for you. I just started going to a gym.
Outstanding. Glad to hear it.
Yeah, and the lady suggested, well, okay, this lady kind of, she makes me kind of mad because okay, this is what she told me after I asked you, cause remember the one day I came into the chat and asked you, I took a bike ride, what should I eat? And you said carbohydrates. You said
Hmm.
eat carbs. I said cereal, and you said that'd be fine. So then I asked this girl at the counter, and she said it's better to eat protein after you exercise because it helps rebuild the muscle that you just used.
No, no. Yeah. It's there's a golden ratio basically, and I've talked about this in my stream before, maybe. I know I've talked about it with some of my cyclist friends in real life that had no idea about it. But if you want a good recovery drink from any kind of exercise, 2% chocolate milk. No crap. 2% chocolate milk. It is, man, it's just as good as any of these tailored like Gatorade recovery drinks or anything like that. It's got this golden perfect ratio of fats to carbohydrates to protein. It is the perfect recovery drink. Perfect. 2% chocolate milk. But there's no one thing you should eat after exercise. I mean, you need all of them. Your body needs the carbs, the fats, and the proteins, but it's you don't want too much of any one of them. Um, so 2% chocolate milk, man.
That sounds good. Maybe what I'll have to do is buy some and record a product review about it.
All right, yeah. I mean, and that's one of the nice things about it too. And what's not that many people know about it is the 2% chocolate milk is a recovery drink. It's cheaper than any recovery drink you're gonna go out there and buy.
Yeah, because
And it's
all the powders and stuff, that
oh yeah,
buying all that stuff is expensive.
yeah. And you honestly have no idea what actually is in those because they are not FDA regulated. So
Yeah,
at least you know what's in that chocolate milk.
yeah, if you read the ingredients label, it's all sorts of chemicals that you have no idea what they even mean. Even on, if you go and watch some of my product reviews and I read off the actual contents of what's in the product, I I get into 5-syllable, 10-syllable words that all mesh together into a chemical concoction that is probably not good for the human body.
Yeah, and even in that regard with the supplements, if you ever look at their ingredients list, as much as they display them, because they don't really ever have much of one, um, you'll notice that there's not really any amounts. So they'll put stuff. Hey, we put this in here, but it could be microscopic, insignificant, not going to do anything for you amounts, and they don't have to say anything about it because they're not FDA regulated. They just put, hey, it's in here. There's there's 1 microgram of it in here, but it's in here. And so yeah, I supplements are something that I I take with a grain of salt. I mean, people really, in my opinion, shouldn't be ever using supplements any more than protein, possibly creatine, and that's about it. That's about it.
All right. And what this girl, she started me on, cardio, one of the leg stepper machines with the arms that go
Mm.
back and forth. Because I guess that I showed her the body parts that I wanted to work on, which is my belly. I'm getting kind of a dad bod already.
Yeah.
The belly, and then I have love handles that are kind of disgusting. So yeah, any girls out there, if you like a guy with love handles and dad bod, I'm totally free.
There you go. There you go. Hey man, that's the thing now. That's the thing now. There's a lot of these girls out there that are looking for the dad bod.
Dad bod. No, I want to get rid of it, and I want to get Bruce Lee abs. That's what I'm working on.
There you go. There you go.
So
That's the goal, isn't it?
yeah, that's the goal. I'm gonna go from Peter Griffin to Bruce Lee is what I told the girl. I'm like, and so she suggested cardio, and I went. What I did was I went heavy at first, but she suggested I go faster rather than harder.
Yeah, I would say that as well. And mm, that's not a catch-all. I mean,
Okay.
it's gonna change from day to day. I mean, you don't want to do the same thing every single day. I mean, you want to do some like what we call long, slow distance, so low intensity, but you're going forever, like 30, 40 minutes, miles. Um, but you also want to do some really high intensity stuff, so going faster. Because the best way I can explain that is, look at marathon runners and look at Olympic sprinters. And the Olympic sprinters are jacked. They got a lot of muscle on their frame, and all they're doing, they're sprinting maybe 100 meters. And these marathon runners are running, 24 miles. How long is a marathon? Damn. But they're running these extreme distances. But you look at the difference in body types. Now, what happens with those if you're just doing nothing but long distance runs? Your body starts to actually hold on to body fat. If that's the only type of training you're doing, your body will actually start to hold on to body fat because it needs it as fuel during those super long runs. So you'll look at these marathon runners, and they kind of seem a little doughy at the beginning of a race. At the end, they're gonna look a little ripped, but they actually kind of seem a little doughy. They're not like super muscular. They have very little muscle mass generally. But you look at a sprinter, and they are just very lean, lots of muscle mass, and that's why. And if you're wanting to really lose weight, it's got to be a combination of the two. That's why I always recommend it to everyone. They're like, well, I want to lower my body fat, and I'm doing all this cardio, and I'll just be like, lift weights, lift weights, because the muscle itself, that's what we call metabolically active tissue. So the fat on your body, it's just there. It's not doing anything. It's just there. Now, if you put on muscle, it's metabolically active. That muscle is using that fat to create energy, to cause the muscle to move. It's using carbohydrates to cause the muscle to move. So the more muscle you put on, the more metabolically active tissue you have, the more you can pull out from those fat stores and burn as energy. So it's very important to get in the weight training and these high intensity sprints and things like that for that fat loss.
Okay. So when I go to the gym later today, I should probably do some weightlifting.
Absolutely.
All right. Probably have to start on the low end. Okay.
Which is perfectly fine.
All right. So in addition to me starting at this gym, I was like, well, what else can I do to physically affect myself? So I bought leg weights at Walmart. And the thing about leg weights is just because they seemed like a good idea in Naruto doesn't mean they seem like a good idea in real life.
No, they're a horrible idea.
They are going back. I packed them in the box, and I'm like, nope, I can't do this.
Yeah, they're bad. I mean, there's definitely, and I've seen it in some of the research I've read. I mean, they'll definitely affect how much energy it costs you to move, but it's really going to be like bad on your knees and your ankles and things like that.
Yeah, just walking around my residence, I could feel it, but it was like more like a dull ache, kind of.
Yeah.
Not really. It didn't really stand out. But they were only 5 pound weights. Like if I was wearing
Yeah.
10 pound weights or 20 pound weights, that'd probably be quite a different story.
Yeah.
All right. So, all right. So, next question, number 2. What games are good for people who want to exercise? And couple of my talking points are DDR and like the Wii, like the sports and yoga. And if you're a gamer who doesn't play those type of games, maybe just get up off the couch and stand to play video games.
Yeah. Which is basically what my answer is. You know, I didn't my answer is not even anything specific. No specific game. It's just anything that's going to get you moving, get you off the couch, out of your computer chair, whatever, just on your feet. Get on your feet, simply even standing. So all this research I've read, this research shows that even if a person is meeting what the American College of Sports Medicine and Surgeon General and all these really, really head honchos um, suggest as the minimum requirements, absolute minimum requirements for physical activity, for health benefits. So even if they're meeting those recommended minimum requirements, if that same person spends most of their days sitting, they are still at an increased risk for cardiovascular disease, for metabolic syndrome, and type 2 diabetes. And so, so even so, myself, for example, even if I'm going out and I'm exercising 3 hours every day, and if I come in and I'm sitting the rest of the day, I am still at an increased risk for disease associated with sedentariness. Um, but my opinion on games out there and exercise, there really aren't many out there that will get people exercising. Um, now,
Yeah,
by saying that, let me differentiate for you between exercise and physical activity. Physical activity is anything that involves movement of the body, more or less, um, beyond a sitting, resting state. So that can be walking to your fridge, that's physical activity. Getting up and standing, it's physical activity. You're activating muscles. Now, exercise is structured physical activity. You've created some kind of plan with certain types of physical activity with certain goals. So there's a difference between physical activity and exercise. Physical activity is basically anything you're doing that's getting you moving, getting your body active. Exercise is structured. So with that in mind, I'll continue my response. So there aren't really many games out there that get people actually exercising. There's a lot out there that increase physical activity in individuals, but not many that actually are exercise. And I think that's an issue that needs to be addressed with video games, and hopefully we'll see that in the future. But as it stands, the exercise that games that do exist, um, they're only going to be bought if a person's already got the intention of exercising. You know, like they have actually had to cognitively make a decision. I'm going to go buy this game because I want to exercise. And if they're going to do that, they're probably already going to make a decision to go to the gym or something as well, or do something outside of that video game. So ideally, as we move into things like the virtual reality and the hollow projection, and these games that are naturally integrating movement into their structure, um, perhaps even as a mode of progression through a game, which is what I would love to see. That's what we need to see happen. If we want to get individuals involved who wouldn't normally choose to exercise, we're going to have to subtly integrate movement and exercise and these activities into a game so that that's not their main focus. It's just a part of it. They're in there, but like my example is a full-fledged AAA RPG title. It's got its own story, its whole combat system, la-di-da-di, everything. And maybe there's how you progress in your stats is through exercising. So the exercising is not the main focus of the game. It's just integrated. And you have to do it in order to progress in the game, but it's not its main focus. So I think that's what needs to happen. Because otherwise, I mean, the exercise and physical activity games are really never going to take off beyond gimmick games.
All right, so a couple of the things that I was going to bring up. Well, okay, this is my one example of buying or getting a game. The Wii Fit, stuff like that. Okay, my experience has been people buy that and then it just sits.
Yep.
They use it for like maybe a week or two, and then just end up not using it anymore.
Exactly. And that's kind of my point with my little rant there. These people will buy it and they'll do it for a week or two, and it loses its novelty because it's a gimmick. I mean, it's these dinky little mini games that you know they're getting people moving, but it's not enduring. It doesn't last. It's not going to keep them actively engaged and invested in that game. So it really, in my opinion, needs to be something that has addictive quality, has progression like an RPG, like an MMO, that is going to keep them continually. All right, I need to achieve this next. I need to achieve this next. I need to get to this level. I want my stats here. That's what needs to happen. So that it's fully integrated into the game and keeps them coming back.
Okay.
No gimmicks.
Okay. All right. Now, speaking of that, would you consider DDR to be something like that? Because in DDR, you have to get more points to unlock the songs, which means you actually have to get better at the game.
Yeah, I might consider DDR something like that. I've never been a DDR person, so I've actually never done it. But back in the day, I always saw the people in the arcades playing it. But yeah, I would say something like that. But to an extent, I mean, if they have people to compete against, absolutely, because they're constantly trying to do better than somebody else, which is great motivation. Great motivation to keep doing it and to keep getting better. But now if it's just like somebody in their house doing DDR, I mean, I don't know how often they're going to do that.
Well,
Because
plus
it's still just uh,
the house, the personal type of DDR pads, the cloth pads, those are
yeah.
not very good for keeping in place, and the buttons like to stop working a lot to where you have to keep pressing the arrow over and over and over again for it to actually register. And I've actually played on a good metal pad that a friend of mine had that worked really well. And the way they set it up was they had a carpeted room, and then they cut a square out of the carpet to match the pad, and put the pad into that space.
Huh. That's some dedication to DDR.
Yeah, yes, it is. Yes, it is. All right. So anyway, going back to like the RPG, maybe like they do a sit up, and they do well like they do uh, well while they're playing a game, they're playing an RPG like turn-based RPG. I'll give Final Fantasy X for an example because it's turn-based. It's not an active system, which means they don't have to concentrate on it. But maybe what they do is they take a turn with the person and like sit down on the floor, do a sit up, take their next turn, do a jumping jack, take their next turn, do a push up, take their next turn, maybe by then the battle's over, they're victorious both in the game and in real life. I mean, it not it's just it would be yeah, it's just be like I would definitely say you just leveled up, bitch.
Yeah.
Alright, so before we go to the next question, I gotta throw a sponsorship out there. A joke sponsorship, kind of, for a candy bar. No, I'm actually not saying, I'm not recommending this, but this is just a joke. We got the crackle here. Got the crackle, if you can hear the crackle. Totally hear the crackle. But it's crackle is all sorts of sugar, not good for your body. So me eating it is not really a good idea. Uh, mm, that was not a good idea. And also, I have sitting next to me a 1/3 strained 2-liter Mountain Dew Voltage.
Oh no.
So yeah, you can really tell I'm wanting to lose weight because I'm drinking all this sugar, I'm eating all this sugar. I'm a horrible person.
It's hard sometimes, man. I like the sugar too. It's hard.
Alright, so done with that break. Alright, so question number 3. What suggestions do you have for gamers to incorporate exercise into their daily life?
All right. Well, let's go back again to where I and remind you of the differentiation between physical activity and exercise. So remember, physical activity is basically anything that's going to get you moving, and exercise is structured physical activity. So something specifically designed to increase health and fitness. So we don't even really need to look at this as exercise, but as physical activity. Now, particularly those of us that are from the United States, one of the large things that differentiates us between some other nations is that we primarily drive everywhere. Everywhere, absolutely everywhere. Your average person in a day may only walk from their home to their car, and from their car into work. And then they're going to sit all day at work, probably, and then repeat that for the trip home with very little movement during the day in between those little tiny bouts of walking. Now, you look at some of these European countries and Asian countries, and they tend to walk everywhere or ride bicycles primarily. Um, Now, yes, I know there's the issue. Oh, but the U.S. it's just so spread out. We have to drive. Yeah, sometimes. But if you live in a city, not really. Um, and I'm not saying, well, you need to walk 30 miles to work. No, I'm not saying that. But my point is walk more, ride a bicycle more, get out and do something more. I mean, if you're 5 minutes from the grocery store, ride a bike, walk. If you just need to go pick up one or two little things, ride a bike, walk. Just any little thing you can do to start getting more physical activity in your life. You know, even if you can't walk to the store or to work, just walk more. Park at the end of the parking lot at work. Park at the end of the parking lot at the store, at your apartment complex. Instead of driving around looking for a parking spot close to the door, park at the very end of the parking lot and just walk all the way in. It's things as simple as that. They add up over time. They really do. Just make a point to move around at work more during the day. Take little micro breaks and stand up every 20 minutes. Maybe walk to the water cooler and get a drink. Just things like that periodically throughout the day just to get you moving and standing more often. It's going to help. It really is. And to emphasize this point about these micro pauses and standing, just to keep you from sitting so much. Every single professor, every single one in my department, and now even some of its secretaries and things, have all got desks that can be raised to standing height. And throughout the day, you'll see them. Sometimes they're sitting, sometimes they're standing. And myself included, I built my own standing height desk that I game and stream from. Now I'm kind of regretting that now because it's not one of those I can crank up and down. So basically always standing, so that kind of sucks. But the point is, I mean, even all my professors and all these people who've, this is their lives, this is their education, this is what they study, this is what they do. Even they will take steps to just stand throughout the day because they've got the same problem. They're sitting at desks writing and creating classes and grading, and they're sedentary a lot as well, even though they're exercise science professionals. So they take these steps as well. So it's not even so much about incorporating exercise into daily life. Oh, although would be fantastic. That is the ultimate goal, is to get people exercising, but simply increasing movement from what it is. Just decreasing sedentariness. Maybe I should say it that way. Decreasing the amount of sedentary time. So any little thing you can do to increase physical activity is going to help. It's going to help.
All right, going back to the to biking to get the groceries and stuff like that instead of driving. Got a comment for that. Stop destroying our atmosphere, jackass. Because the cars, the exhaust fumes go up into the atmosphere, and it's like we're killing our planet on purpose. All the
yeah.
methane and stuff. And
Well, hopefully we're starting to move away from that. I mean, now that we're the Tesla cars and everything, Elon Musk is starting to really push these electric cars, and they're starting to become a lot more prominent within the next few years, hopefully.
All right, so the talking point I had for this question is my not being able to stay still while sitting. There, I wouldn't consider it exercise by your definition, but it's like I personally cannot sit still. I have to, even right now, I'm moving around, my legs moving, my hands are moving, I can't stay still. Now, I don't know if that has a I don't know if other gamers have this issue or anything like that, but does it have an effect on the body?
I mean, it's going to have some minimal effect, but I mean,
Okay.
not a whole lot, no, because
Yeah, no.
I mean, you're not really activating any kind of muscles all that much for just those tiny little movements and swinging your legs and things. So
Yeah.
there's no really significant activation going on there. If it's not going to raise your heart rate, it's not really going to do much.
All right. So, speaking of the standing desk, we can see into question 4. You have a standing desk. Declaration that's already been discussed. Would you recommend it to others, or if not, what would be a good alternative?
I absolutely recommend it. Now, by no means is this the only option, but a quick Google search for a raising desk stand will lead you to something like Veridesk, and there's a couple out there now. I see the ads pop up on my Twitter all the time, but a quick Google search for raising desk stand will probably pop up Veridesk, Varidesk. Now there are probably cheaper options available, but we're just going to use that as an example. So what this Veridesk is, and impromptu product placement, I guess, is an add-on piece. You can simply just sit on top of your desk, and you sit your monitors and keyboard and mouse on it, and then this secondary platform on your desk surface can then be raised and lowered. So you don't even have to build a whole desk, because that can be pretty expensive, getting one of those crank desks. So you can just couple $100 get this little platform that's going to raise and lower throughout the day. I can't recommend something like that enough. Building your own desk like I did it may not be feasible. My dad's in construction. We just had stuff laying around, and even then, it's still a really hodgepodge mess of a thing. It's PVC, and it's thrown together really haphazardly. So building your own desk like I did might not be all that feasible. Buying a full desk on a desk crank might be too expensive. But these modular platforms like the Veridesk are a pretty good compromise. So even ignoring the health benefits, as a streamer, um, personally, I find standing and being able to move around a bit, it adds a lot more energy to my stream than I would otherwise have if I were just sitting in a chair. Um, that's definitely something I've noticed from my early streams when I was first getting started to now, where I was sitting versus now where I'm standing a lot. There's a lot more energy to me. When I was sitting in the chair, I'd just kind of be dull and relaxed and not a whole lot of movement and not much energy in myself. And now that I stand more, I move around more, I'm more dynamic, more energetic, although not extremely because I'm just not that type of person. But um, but yeah, absolutely, I would certainly recommend some way of getting your desk to standing height and being able to raise and lower it, because definitely probably having one permanently standing height like I do is not the best of ideas. I'd really like to make mine so that I can raise and lower it, but having something like that is absolutely a good idea. Absolutely. Um, Even if it's you only raise it up every 30 or 40 minutes, hey, that's something. It's getting you on your feet for a little while. Ideally, that would be about every 20 minutes. You should take a micro pause and stand and whatnot. But whatever, if you can add in anything, it's all going to help. It's all going to help.
Okay, so two things. I just went and stood up myself, just for like a second. Standing up again. All right. Second thing, I'm actually on the Veridesk site right now. They have a 1-800 number. Convert your desk to a stand. Free shipping to the lower 48 states, which is okay. If sitting's a problem, stand. Yeah, advertisements, and these are quite expensive.
Yeah, like I said,
395, 495.
there, and like I said, there's probably cheaper options available. I'm just using that as an example because that was one of the first ones I ever came across on the internet of that type. But at this point, I think there's other brands out there, so some of them might be cheaper. But I mean, you look at that $200, $300, $400, it's probably still going to be cheaper than buying a desk on a crank or installing a crank on your desk. You'd probably look at spending a few $100s more than that to do something like that.
All right, so I decoyed it, which is my term for using DuckDuckGo, which I personally recommend. It's a browser that keeps your privacy. But what I came up with is, come on, okay. I create adjustable vented laptop table, laptop computer, desk, portable bed, tray book, stand, multifunctional ergonomics. It's like a stand, but it's an adjustable one. Uh, it looks like three just sticks put together and raised up connected to uh, a laptop pad or you could put a monitor on it probably, and then there's a little uh, platform off to the side probably for a mouse or whatever. That's probably a laptop. All right. Anyway, I'm being bad at my show. All right. So okay. So yeah. Uh, alright. So having a standing desk is good. Okay. Talking point I had is stuff like the exercise iPhone games, which I don't even know why I put that on there. Oh jeez. Alright. So we'll go ahead and move on to question number 5, which we've covered it probably repeated times throughout this podcast. But it
Actually,
is.
we haven't yet.
We haven't yet? Oh.
No,
I think we touched on it a couple times.
nope.
But no? Okay. But question number 5 is any advice for gamers who seriously want to exercise? The one talking point I have for this is prevent sedentariness. So if you're a gamer, get the fuck off your ass and just, I don't say stop gaming, but make yourself be intense. Be intense. There, okay. I'm gonna go Shia LaBeouf and be like, be intense. Alright, so floor is yours, sir.
All right. And why I say we haven't covered this question yet is because up to this point I've really been talking about physical activity and kind of what you just said, just getting up and getting moving. But this question is seriously exercising. So just get out there and do it. That's all there is to it. Even if it's a little bit at first. I mean, you don't got to be out there in the gym maybe 2-3 hours like I do sometimes. Like, absolutely not. I mean, 30 minutes, an hour, it's fine. Just get out there. Just get out there and exercise. That is the most difficult step, and that is the first step. Just getting out there and take it slow. Don't have unrealistic expectations. You're probably not going to look like 1980s Arnold Schwarzenegger. Sorry, it's probably not going to happen. Hell, you might not even ever have a six-pack. That's fine. It's fine. Things like that take a lot of dedication. Proper diet, and years of work. That is something a lot of people don't seem to understand. These people are just shredded and ripped. It's not something that happened quick. They didn't just get in the gym for a couple months and bam, they just look like supermodels. I mean, it's years of work, proper diet, dedication. Fitness takes time. It takes time. So, yeah, maybe you'll never look like Arnold Schwarzenegger or Ryan Reynolds or have that six-pack, but we're more concerned about health benefits. If you're one of those people that really wants to get ripped and have the raging, bulging biceps and abs, and I mean, you're probably going to find the motivation and everything to get out there and do that. But for the purpose of this discussion, in terms of exercise, let's just talk about health benefits. What you can do to make yourself healthier, to decrease that risk of cardiovascular disease, metabolic disease, type 2 diabetes. What can you do there? Now, ACSM is the American College of Sports Medicine. Now, their minimum recommendations to see health benefits. It's 30 minutes per day. 30 minutes per day. That's it. 30 minutes. Anyone can find 30 minutes of time in their day. Trust me. I do Army stuff. I am a full-time doctoral student. I teach at university. I paint. I stream. I do all kinds of extra things, and I still find time to exercise. You can find 30 minutes in a day to get some exercise in. So, 30 minutes per day, 5 days per week of moderate to vigorous intensity physical activity is the minimum recommendation. So, this moderate to vigorous activity, let me expound on that a little bit. Moderate activity. All that is walking. It's all it takes to move into moderate physical activity. A brisk walk. 30 minutes per day, 5 days per week, and you're on your way. That's it. It's all it takes. Now, I know someone out there right now listening to this is probably saying, screw it. I'd rather be more comfortable and relax and enjoy my life than get out there and make myself miserable exercising. If I die early, I die early. At least I enjoyed it. No. Just no. You're going to die at some point, yeah. But probably not as early as you may hope. Modern medicine is a marvel. It's some impressive stuff. It's not like it was 30, 40, 50 years ago. So there is something in this field we call quality of life years. Now, these are the years of your life where you maintain the ability to perform all activities of daily living. Things as simple as getting up and walking to the refrigerator, reaching up and getting something out of a cabinet, getting yourself to the toilet, to bathe yourself. Those are activities of daily living. Now, the goal is to have as many quality of life years as possible, and then to die quickly. So basically, spend the majority of your life healthy able to perform those activities of daily living the majority of your life with these quality of life years, and absolutely as little time as possible in disability. If you live a sedentary life, you don't eat well, what's more likely to happen than, oh, well, I'll just die a little earlier, but at least I enjoyed my life. What's more likely to happen is that you'll have a heart attack, some kind of coronary artery disease, type 2 diabetes, and then you're going to live for another 20 to 30 years in disability. You're not just going to die. It's going to be a huge majority of your life in disability where you can't do all the things you need to do to take care of yourself. So if that scares you, it should. It should. I'm intending to pitch a talk about this for TwitchCon because I want to make this people aware of this that think, well, I'm gonna enjoy my life. I'm gonna eat what I want to eat. I'm gonna do what I want to do. Play video games, watch TV all day, eat fast food. Hey, it's delicious. At least I enjoyed it. It's been fun. And then I'm gonna die early. At least I enjoyed my life. Sorry. I'm sorry. It's probably not gonna happen that way. You're going to live a huge chunk of your life in disability. So I can't emphasize enough. Get out there. Do something just to increase those quality of life years, to decrease the amount of time you're going to spend in disability because you've suffered some kind of adverse event like a heart attack, coronary artery disease, no, obstructive pulmonary disease, type 2 diabetes. Just get out there and start doing something, some kind of physical activity, some kind of exercise, with the goal of just improving your health, not even getting ripped, getting shredded, looking fantastic, just to be healthy, to live comfortably longer, live healthy longer, to take care of yourself longer. And that's if that doesn't get you motivated, I don't know what does.
You brought me to tears. Oh, that impassioned speech there. Well, one of the things I want to comment on is like, well, okay, so 30 minutes. A lot of games I've seen nowadays have like auto leveling, idling, where you're still playing the game without playing the game. And one example I want to use is Final Fantasy 12. There is a place in Final Fantasy 12 where you can just sit there and you can level over and over and over again. So, advice: hey, set yourself up to level for like 30 minutes. Go out, take a walk, go to the gym, go to the even, and I'm seriously interjecting this, have sex with your significant other.
It's definitely physical activity.
It counts as physical activity. So it somewhat vigorously too, depending on how hard you go at it.
Absolutely.
So yeah, because I know a lot of exercise people won't say that because they're being a little conservative about it, but being intimate and engaging in intercourse with your significant other, regardless of what type that is. No, I'm not against anything, pretty much. But yeah, just say you're leveling and you want to spend some time doing stuff with your significant other, even going out with them for a walk, or going to the gym, or yeah, just not sitting there watching the game play itself. Alright, so I believe we've reached the end of the questions. So, if you want to go ahead, Deb, show yourself.
Huh?
Go ahead and like promote yourself.
Oh. um, Man, I feel like this whole interview's basically been me promoting myself. Well, if you're interested in finding out some more about me, I do have a website. It is www.devilinknowtv, no spaces, devilinknowtv.com. So that is where my art portfolio is located. There's actually a page on there where you don't even have to go to Twitch to watch my stream. The channel is embedded on my website with the chat and everything. Now, if you're interested in looking me up on Twitch, my name is devil_you_know. I primarily, at this point, do gaming streams, but I may start doing a lot more creative art type streams here pretty soon.
That picture of Diablos. Oh my god, you captured him totally awesomely.
Who won that?
I don't. It wasn't me. I know that for sure.
Yeah. I don't. Man, whoever won it, they haven't been back. It makes me sad.
Oh.
But yeah, I mean, Twitch and my website are the best ways to learn about me, to see what I'm all about. My personality's not really that much different than what you've experienced in this interview. I'm really chill, relaxed. So if that's the type of thing you're into, pop into my channel and give me a watch, and
Yeah,
I'll try to talk to you.
he accepts me, but even though the fact that I'm a huge pervert pretty much hits on every girl who enters the room.
I accept almost everybody unless you come in there and you spoil movies. Ugh, you will get instantly banned.
Spoil movies. Batman vs Superman sucked. That's not a spoiler.
Well, I liked it. I mean, I didn't think it was great, but it was all right. It was all right, in my opinion. But that's an aside. That's an aside.
Yeah, that's an aside, and that's also sitting in a movie theater, sitting on your butt for 2 hours, 2.5 hours.
Yeah, that was definitely a long movie.
They need to make standing desks for movie theaters. There's a business venture right there. Standing desks.
Here's my business venture. Tie in people's internet speeds to stationary bicycles. The faster they pedal, the faster their connection is. Man, you'll get a fit United States really quickly.
I wouldn't mind that. I would do that. I would do that every day. To try to get up to 50 gigs a second. Heck yeah.
Yeah, get that gigabit internet going on.
Yeah.
Pedal like crazy.
Yeah. All right. Well, so and people on my YouTube channel know who I am, Squallshade. I do have a Twitch, but I fail at it pretty much. Also, a shout out to Charlie St. Monica, one of our fellow Twitch streamers. She does awesome streams. She streams Rocket League, I guess, and like painting, which she's really good at. Anybody else you want to shout out?
Oh god, I don't want to do too many shout outs because there's all kinds of people. I'd say Charlie St. Monica just because she is a personal friend,
Yeah.
for sure. And there's just so many good ones out there, and I would have to look up all their usernames and give them to you directly. But Fridays, Life with Laughs, Miss Cookies, there's just so many. The list of people I follow is long.
Ridiculous. So if you want to know who all he follows, you can just go into his Twitch.tv and just
There
ask
you go.
Just asking. All right. So what's your usual? Do you have a usual Twitch schedule set up yet?
I do, and you can see that just by going to my Twitch channel. It's down in the channel info. It is also now my splash page banner when I'm offline. It shows in my stream, has the schedule, and I will try to update that every week if anything changes much. Like it's gonna get updated this week because I'm gonna be doing more creative streams. But the schedule is generally Monday through Thursday, starting at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. Fridays, generally starting about the same time, but I may start earlier because I don't actually have work on Fridays and Saturdays. So Friday, Saturday, it's possible that I start earlier, but generally every day starting at 6 p.m. Central Standard Time. and then Sundays I do not stream.
All right, and for your avatar, you currently have that horrible picture of you wearing that mask. I
Why
do
is it
not.
horrible?
I don't like that picture. I don't know why, but it's like it's like you're staring into my soul. Okay.
That's the
All right.
idea. I'm the devil, man.
Yeah, doubly no. All right. So let's see. This user has no bio. Apparently,
Nope.
your last. Oh yes. Let's talk about this a little bit. Your last stream was figure painting, the acrylic,
Mhm. Yes.
which that picture looks pretty good. I don't know what that is, but is it like a god or something?
No, it's the model for that's actually Travimus Prime.
Oh, alright. Well, he's scary.
But no,
Alright.
so what that is the theme behind that. I'm doing a series of similar works right now, and you've probably seen some of the previous ones that are just the portraits, just the face with that like fading to that smoky ink effect.
Okay,
So
yeah. The
this
charcoal on the
this
face.
is yeah, this is gonna be something like that, but it's just a full figure or mostly full figure. I can't show full figure on Twitch, and it's
Yeah.
not like he modeled for me nude anyway. So about
Yeah.
waistline, it's gonna transition away, which is why it stops there. But
Yep.
it's just a theme, something I'm trying to express in terms of evoking a feeling with these pieces. So they're supposed to be kind of really like anguish, depression, um, kind of emotional pain type feeling they evoke.
Wow.
That's where they're going.
I would like to commission one. Alright. So,
Well, no commissions yet, but maybe
no,
maybe one
okay.
day. Maybe one day.
Alright. And then also you have on your channel Salt and Sanctuary,
Hmm.
which is basically Dark Souls.
Oh my god, it's so hard.
But the studio who made it, Scott Studio, also uh, made a game called Charlie Murder, which is one that I really liked. And the Salt and
Yeah.
Sanctuary seems to be in the same style, the art style that they use, which is super awesome. Maybe that could be something you draw, something from that game.
Hmm. It's possible.
That'd be cool. And then
Possible.
you're also playing worst game in the world, The Division.
It's not the worst game in the world. I like it.
Yeah, I know that it's been plagued with problems though, and it's just it's not the type of game that I would personally play.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, even for me, like you don't see me playing it much because unless there's other people to play with, it's no fun to me. I mean, there needs to be friends to play with.
But yeah,
Otherwise, it's just like, yeah.
do you play it with Jose?
I do, or
Okay,
Jorge.
Yeah, Jorge. Yeah, who's also
Yeah, I do, and also there's another guy that comes into the stream, Mr. Evo-san, and I play with him sometimes as well.
all right. Well, I believe that will be it for the podcast. We thank you for coming onto the show, Dev,
All right, well, thank you for having me.
and this should be going up on YouTube today, depending on. Yeah, I'm just probably gonna let it upload and see how long it takes, and head
it's,
to the
it's,
gym.
it's what, about an hour long? It might
About
take a little while.
about an hour, and then if you can link it on your Twitch, you can link it on your website to say you did an interview with me.
Yeah, I'll do that, man.
and,
I'll do that.
and
Just drop me a link to it in the Discord, and I'll share that with everybody once it's up.
yep. Also, his Discord is also on his page,
It
which
is. It is.
his Discord is full of amazing people.
Oh yeah. That don't talk.
All right, so we thank you for watching. We thank you for listening, and take care of yourselves and have a good day. And remember, exercise, exercise. Goodbye.